Hello and welcome back, MTG Burgeoning community. I'd like to welcome you to the debut of the Up and Up series. The Up and Up series is going to feature decks that have been showcased on the channel or built by the MTG Burgeoning community. And what we're going to do is we're going to show some ways in which we can update and or upgrade those decks. And today we are going to debut with Morophon and our budget slivers. Hello, MTG Burgeoning fans. Yes, he has made the transition. Morophon is no longer about having fun on Sundays. He's here on Commander Thursday. It is the debut of MTG Burgeoning's Up and Up series, and in this video, we are going to upgrade our budget sliver build. And what we're going to do is our current sliver build is around a $65 build. And what we're going to do here is we are going to upgrade that build to $100. And we are going to throw in 10 cards totaling around $35 in order to bring this budget sliver build up to the $100 level. So strap yourselves in, folks, and get ready for a ride. So we are going to start by adding one land that already wasn't there, and that land is going to be unclaimed territory. When it enters the battlefield, we choose a creature type, slivers of course. We turn this land sideways for a colorless generic mana, or we turn it sideways for 1 mana of any color, and we can only use that colored mana to cast a creature spell of the chosen type, slivers of course. And although historically the mana base for this 5-color budget sliver build with Morophon as our general commander has been fine in fixing and smoothing, if we have the option, it's always nice to have another land that we can tap for any color to cast our slivers. I mean, we have more slivers in the deck than any other type of spell. Making sure that we can solidify the land base by adding 1 copy of unclaimed territory is not going to be a bad thing at all. Speaking of those slivers, here's 3 that I would like to add as a way in which to upgrade this deck. The first, let's add another lord. We got a few of them in there. Of course, Morophon acts as a lord, and we've got the Muscle, we've got the Predatory, we've got the Sinew, we've got Megantic. Now we're going to have the Sedge Sliver. 2 in a red. As a 2/2 sliver, all slivers have. This creature gets +1/+1 as long as we control a swamp, and we can tap a black to regenerate this creature. So not only do we get the bump of +1/+1 as long as we have a swamp, and we most certainly will at some point have a swamp, we also have the ability to tap a black to regenerate this creature. Sedge Sliver is sliver number 1 to go into this deck as an upgrade. Sliver number 2, Shifting Sliver. 3 in a blue, it's a 2/2 sliver, and says slivers can't be blocked except by other slivers. So as long as you are not sitting down at a table that has sliver player or players or changelings, this pretty much means your slivers are unblockable. Shifting Sliver is sliver number 2, and I just want to take a moment to point out that all of these cards that are being added did not make the budget requirements for earlier inclusion in the deck building process when we were, operating under a much harsher set of fiduciary restrictions. Sliver number 3, I'm going to put a copy of Brood Sliver in play. With the number of slivers we have in our deck that have evasion granting abilities, we can have a Brood Sliver in play that whenever a sliver deals combat damage to a player, its controller may put a 1/1 colorless sliver creature token into play. Listen, we're not playing with the Sliver Queen. That's not going to be an option for this deck. However, including the Brood Sliver, and let's say we send 3 or 4 slivers off on their merry flying way and we do some combat damage, we put some babies into play and make the army bigger. Brood Sliver is sliver number 3 that I would include as an upgrade to our budget sliver build. Next, let's talk about ways in which to get our slivers. And one of the cards I would definitely include is Eladamri's Call. A green and a white as an instance. We search our library for a creature card, reveal it, and put it into our hand. One casting of Eladamri's Call can bring a Sedge Sliver, a Shifting Sliver, a Brood Sliver. It can bring any sliver in our library right to our hand. Great card to include. And card number 5. And we only have 5 options left as, well, not 5 options, or 5 more cards to showcase in updating this deck. Another way in which to get slivers into play. And I actually really, really love how this could interact and synergize with the Basil Sliver. And that's a copy of Living Death. 3 in double black. Each player exiles all creature cards from their graveyards, then sacrifices all creatures they control, then puts all creature cards he or she exiled this way onto the battlefield. So for the purposes of the earlier connection, if we have a Basil Sliver in play, we sacrifice our creatures to get the 2 black mana for each sliver we sacrificed. We cast Living Death. Hopefully we have some hasty slivers like the Heart Sliver, or we have the Cloud Shredder Sliver. We bring those slivers back into play, thereby also wiping the board of our opponents. And hopefully our opponents don't have too many troublesome or problematic creatures lurking in their graveyards. Adding Living Death, I mean, let's be honest, it's not Patriarch's Bidding, but we're budget build and we cannot add Patriarch's Bidding because of the financial constraints. Living Death is a nice consolation prize. I will definitely give you that. All right, the next 2 cards that I want to add as an upgrade to this current deck list, they're both going to be removal spells, and they both pretty much do the same thing, but we're going to start with the original. 1 copy of Beast Within. You know, playing budget builds, we want to make sure that the removal that we include is as versatile as possible. And Beast Within can hit any permanent. It can hit lands, planeswalkers, enchantments, creatures, destroying a target permanent and gifting its controller with a 3/3 green beast creature token makes this spell so valuable and so important to include, particularly in a deck where, let's be honest, we're not spending the big bucks on removal spells. We're not spending the big bucks on any spells. All right, so Beast Within is the originator. So Modern Horizons gave us Beast Within number 2, decided to make it white and call it Generous Gift. Does the exact same thing as Beast Within, destroys a permanent, and instead of getting a 3/3 green beast creature token, its controller gets a 3/3 green elephant creature token. Still, including a Beast Within and a Generous Gift in this type of build, the versatility of knowing that you have this in your hand and you can deal with any threat, if it's a planeswalker, if it's a creature, if it's a land, maybe they have Glacial Chasm in play or something ridiculous. We Generous Gift it right out of there. All right, and the last 2 cards that I want to include in this first installment of the Up and Up series. I want to find some ways to protect our guys. I mean, the slivers, like I said earlier, when slivers are in play, we're sitting down and someone shows that you got a commander and they're tipping their hat at the sliver build, you can expect there's going to be a lot of board wipes. So let's do whatever we can to protect the slivers that we have in play, and let's add a copy of Boros Charm. For a red and a white at instant speed, of course, Boros Charm deals 4 damage to target player, which, I mean, that's okay. I mean, it's 10% of a player's starting life total. I mean, it's not going to, you know, break the mold of direct damage spells. So that's mode 1. Mode 2 is the one that is much more favorable for what we're trying to do here, and that's giving all of our permanents indestructible until end of turn. By casting this in response to a board wipe, we save our squad and they live to fight another day as opposed to being sent right to the graveyard. And the third option isn't bad either. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. I mean, Morphin's sitting up there with a beefy 6/6 body. If we also have the Megantic Sliver and one of our other lords, suddenly we're looking at a 10/10 and 11/11 that gets double strike and one-shots an opponent right out. That would be awesome. So although Boros Charm's 3 modes are somewhat relevant, it's that middle mode that's most impressive for me. And this is it, folks. This is card number 10 of this $35 upgrade. We're taking our Sliver deck from 65 to 100. And in so doing, card number 10 is going to be Heroic Intervention. For 1 and a green, permanents we control gain hexproof, and there's that wonderful word again, indestructible until end of turn. A lot of what we said about the second mode of Boros Charm can be used here with Heroic Intervention. We want to protect our squad, we want to make sure they're safe, we don't want any harm to come to them. Plus with the hexproof, that's just a bonus. You can't target them, you can't destroy them. Heroic Intervention is the first card I would add in this upgrade. And that's it, folks. This is MTG Burgeoning's Up and Up series. We updated and upgraded Morophon 5-color budget slivers. This is MTG Burgeoning, folks, and may your turn 1 play always be Command Tower into Sol Ring.